Good evening. This is a regular scheduled meeting of the Kettering City Council. Today's date is July 25th, 2023. Please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for all who serve the Kettering community. Give us enthusiasm for our work and wisdom to make the right decisions. May we remain humble and grateful for the opportunity to lead. Guide this council so that we may continue to serve our citizens with integrity and purpose, always remembering to be worthy of the responsibilities entrusted in us by our residents. I would like to recognize at this time our Miami Valley Communication Council TV operator, Mike Soproni. Mike, thank you for all your assistance. We may have a few glitches tonight. I understand our monitor's not working, so bear with us. Mr. Duke and Mrs. Hall both have an excused absence this evening. At this point, I would like to have the approval of minutes, and I'll call on Mrs. Fisher to do that.
Well, Your Honor, I have reviewed both the council meeting and the workshop minutes for July the 11th of 2023, and I do find them order, and I move for their approval.
Second.
Okay, does anyone have any questions or suggestions, comments? Okay, call the roll.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Klepass?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mayor Lehner?
Yes. Okay. We do have a proclamation this evening. I'd like to call on Mr. Scott to read that.
Thank you, Your Honor. Whereas Lemonade Day is a day designed to encourage children to start, own, and operate their own business through the simple and time-honored act of building and running a lemonade stand, and whereas Lemonade Day provides fun, proactive, and first-hand activities infused with life skills that character education and entrepreneurship, and whereas Lemonade Day is a day of learning and celebrating Kettering's youth. On July 29th, 2023, residents are encouraged to purchase a cup of lemonade from youth members participating in the event to demonstrate how our community cares and support the futures of our youth. And whereas Lemonade Day teaches young entrepreneurs a valuable life lesson of spend a little, save a little, and share a little by donating a portion of their profits to any local charity of their choice. And whereas the Kettering community expresses appreciation for our youth and their eagerness to learn and exercise invaluable life lessons and the importance of entrepreneurship and giving back to the minority. Now, therefore, I, Peggy Lehner, Mayor of the City of Kettering, Ohio, on behalf of the City Council and the community, do hereby proclaim July 29th, 2023 to be Lemonade Day in the City of Kettering, and commends all sponsors, organizers, and participants who will be providing assistance to our youth and make this day a success.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Who doesn't like lemonade? I would ask Eric Ebert, Kettering resident, to come down to accept the proclamation this evening. Come right here. Okay. Thank you very much for working on this, and if you'd like to say a few words, feel free. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. Thank you very much. River Valley Credit Union brought Lemonade Day to the Miami Valley. It's a national organization. It's a national program that teaches kids entrepreneurship through an app that has cartoons and 21 little lessons. And when the cities get behind it, like Kettering here, that means so much more. So thank you very much. We just because July 29th is Lemonade Day itself doesn't mean the learning stops. If there's any other parents or kids who want to download the app and learn, they can set up a stand anytime they want. So we're not going to limit it to one day, but we will be doing this again next year, and we hope to have children all over Kettering next year be involved with this, just like they are this year. So
That's
thank
great.
you so much.
That's great, thank you.
Can I make
It does
a-
seem like we've seen an increase in lemonade stands. I've kind of been noticing that.
Can I make a comment? I was once told you never drive by a lemonade stand without stopping. You always stop. I don't like lemonade, but I always stop. I buy the lemonade. I tip because I believe in tipping. And then I don't drink it till I get in the car because it's terrible. I don't want to make a face. But I found out that a friend of mine actually tips like $5, $10 to these kids, and I was put to shame. And I think,
Well, you
where
should
were
have been.
these people when I was a kid? I didn't get that. So anyway, thank you for this.
Different today than it was.
Yeah.
That's true, that's true.
A nickel, maybe?
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's
Thank you. Thanks for doing that.
Thank you. Thanks, Ms. Duval. Okay. We have no public hearings this evening. This is a point, if you wish to comment upon any of the legislation that is going to be before us this evening, this is your opportunity to do that. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. Speaker must state their name and address, and comments should be addressed to council. If you have comments that are not about the legislation on tonight's agenda, there will be an opportunity for those to be heard later in the meeting. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to any of the legislation this evening? Okay, not seeing anyone, we'll move along then. We'll start with ordinances and second reading. I'll call on Mrs. Fisher to start.
Your Honor, I do have an ordinance adopting the amended civil service rules for the city of Kettering. It is requested by the Human Resources Department, and I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Greason, do you have any comments?
Yes, you'll recall that previously by ordinance, you made some changes to our organizational chart, and you created a new title and a position called the Human Resource Coordinator. I'll refresh your memory. That wasn't to add a new position to the total head count allowed for the city, but it was a change in title and classification in the Human Resources Department as a result of changes in duties and responsibilities of a couple of employees there. In addition to the prior ordinance you adopted that facilitated the reorganization and the reclassification of those jobs, we also need to amend the civil service rules for the city of Kettering, and it's recommended that the position, newly titled classified position, Human Resource Coordinator, be placed in what's called the unclassified service.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions on this? Okay, hearing none, call the roll.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Klepass?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mayor Laner?
Yes. We'll now move to resolutions, and I'll call on Mr. Klepass to start.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution this evening authorizing the city manager to purchase computers and servers from Dell for the annual computer and server replacement program. The estimated cost is $60,300. Amount budget is $100,510. It's requested by Administrative Systems. I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Mr. Greason, do you have any further information?
Yes, Your Honor. Our Administrative Systems Department very effectively manages a centralized replacement program for our computers and servers. That's to ensure that employees are able to perform their jobs using modern, reliable technology. And we do that by replacing approximately 20% of the existing computer fleet each year. That's what this resolution helps us accomplish, and we certainly recommend its approval.
Any questions? Okay, see none, please call the roll.
Mr. Klepass?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Laner?
Yes. Mr. Scott?
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing an additional expenditure of funds for streetlight maintenance. Estimated cost is $42,000. The amount budgeted is $26,000 and is requested by the Engineering Department. I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Greason?
Yes, Your Honor. This is an additional expenditure, as stated, for streetlight maintenance. The purchase order amount of 26,000 is being exceeded. Between pending invoices and kind of preparing for unexpected work, we're recommending increasing it to $42,000 through December 31st of 2023. Let me give a little context. We budget an amount each year, but sometimes these types of expenses can be unpredictable, and we have to come back, and we can underspend some years, and it can cost more in other years. And what drives that is, if somebody hits a light pole, there's a circuit failure, but more often the expense of a street light post being damaged. And I think we've had several of those this year.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, please call the roll.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Klepass?
Yes.
Mayor Laner?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to apply for funding from the Ohio Public Works Commission for the Southern Boulevard Improvements Project and the Heritage Point Drive Improvement Projects. This is being requested by the Engineering Department. I move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Greason.
Yes, Your Honor. The city has a desire to make improvements to the curbs, to the catch basins, and to the pavement on Southern Boulevard and Heritage Point Drive in 2024. The state of Ohio has a program through the Ohio Public Works Commission that offers grants and loans that the city of Kettering can apply for, and we would like authorization to make application for Ohio Public Works loans and funds for construction of those projects.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, call the roll.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Klepass?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Laner?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to use competitive bargaining and negotiated quotes to contract for the construction of the Indian Riffle Park Garden Plaza project. The estimated cost is $456,808. The amount budgeted is $493,500, and it is requested by Parks, Recreation, Cultural Arts Department, and I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Greason.
Yes, Your Honor. Our community was fortunate enough through the Kettering Parks Foundation to receive a $1 million donation from the Doug Latham family. One of the projects identified for expenditure of those funds was renovating the shuffleboard courts that are in front of the Latham Senior Center, constructing a 20 by 30 shelter, and building some hardscape and paths in a garden plaza seating area that would include some swings that would overlook the pond in that area, as well as some landscaping and signage to support the many people who enjoy the Latham Center in Indian Riffle Park. We recommend approval.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Klepass?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mayor Laner?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorize acceptance of a donation from Kettering Police Foundation for the purchase of a UAV Vesper drone and accessories. The estimated cost is $12,437. The amount budgeted is zero. It's requested by the Police Department. I move for approval.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Chief Protzman.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Would you like to explain this one to us?
Absolutely. This is a way for us to continue to build off of technology to make our officers more effective and safer. Drones we will use to such things as search for people who are missing in bigger areas, to look for wanted subjects, to use them during canine tracks. This drone can be used day or night in any kind of weather. So we're excited for that, and we greatly appreciate the donation from the Kettering Police Foundation. Be happy to answer any questions.
I do have a question or a comment. I think you answered a couple things I was curious about, but day and night shift and all that. But we just had the Gentilly Park groundbreaking last week, and Carl from MBCC, who's there videoing the event, he goes over and gets in his bag and pulls out a drone, and all of a sudden that baby takes off. He's well trained at that. Do you have to train
We do.
different
Yeah.
officers in on different shifts?
That is correct. We have to have pilots who are, or officers who are pilots licensed through the FAA.
Oh, wow.
We will send them to school. We have 4 of them right now. We plan on sending more through there. We plan on building off of this drone program to have more in the future as well. So yes, they have to be licensed and trained.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Obviously, by the questions, you can tell this is a new technology, and we're all fascinated by it. One of the things I'm wondering is, what is the future of dogs with the drones? Are we going to use both, or one preferable to the other, or what?
We will use both. We think they'll be very compatible together. We think the dogs will point us in the right direction, and we'll put the drones up to go ahead of the dogs to look
To
for the
follow
people.
along.
So, not giving any secrets away, however.
Okay, that's
Cool.
great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
great.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay, please call the roll.
Mr. Kleipas?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mayor Laner?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a cost-sharing agreement with the Board of Education of the Kettering City School District for school resource officers. This is requested by the Police Department. I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, Chief Protzman, I'll give you this one,
Thank you.
too.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is just a continuation of a contract we've had with the school before. Several years ago, if you remember, they approached us and wanted us to put permanent officers in the high school and the 2 middle schools, where they offered to pay 70% of the salary and benefits of those officers. Certainly looked very good to us, not just adding to our manpower, but also the safety of the schools and officers to be able to be in there and build relationships with the students and teachers. Be happy to answer any questions.
Great. We're going to give drones to the resource officers?
We're working on that.
We're working on it, okay. All right. Anyone have any questions? Okay, call the roll.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Kleipas?
Yes.
Mayor Laner?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to contract with OTT Equipment Service, Inc. for replacement of a heavy-duty lift located at the Vehicle Maintenance Center. The estimated cost is $410,000. This is being requested by the Public Service Department. I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Greason, back to you.
Yes, Your Honor. One of our heavy-duty lifts at the Vehicle Maintenance Center was originally scheduled and planned for in our capital improvements plans to be replaced in 2024. It didn't exactly cooperate with us. The hydraulic system on it has failed, and replacement parts are no longer available, so we want to move up the investment in that lift, which is critical to our vehicle maintenance operations. So it will need to be replaced sooner, and obviously that request for funds will be eliminated in the 2024 CIP budget.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, call the roll.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Kleipas?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Laner?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a resolution to make supplemental appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Kettering, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st of 2023. The estimated cost is $28,437, with zero being budgeted, and it is requested by the Finance Department, and I move for approval.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Greason.
Yes, there are 2 of these. The first of which is the supplemental appropriation of $12,437 to support the drone package that the chief just explained. And the second is the supplemental appropriation of $16,000 to support the streetlight maintenance that I described earlier. And so this would accomplish both of those that you previously approved.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, call the roll.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Kleipas?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mayor Laner?
Yes. Now move to ordinances in first reading. We have one, Mr. Kleipas.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have an ordinance this evening in first reading to rezone 2119 East Dorothy Lane from Economic Development Overlay District Number 14 to B Business District. Planning Commission case number PC 23-013. It's requested by the Planning and Development Department. First reading.
Okay, did you want to say anything further on that?
No, I believe, I don't know if Mr. Robillard would like to, but I think we've covered this a little bit in a prior meeting.
Certainly, just real briefly, a public hearing was held on this item at the last city council meeting. It is regarding the rezoning of the old Aaron's Rents building that's at 2119 East Dorothy Lane near the corner of Woodman Drive. It's zoned economic development overlay. The applicant requested B business zone. It does meet all the requirements of the zoning code and modifications of a zoning district, and the Planning Commission did recommend approval.
Okay. It's in first reading, so we'll take a vote on that at the next meeting. Certifications and petitions. Ms. Kozinski, do we have any this evening?
Your Honor, we have a certification and a petition this evening. We'll start with the certification. Planning Commission is recommending approval of PC 23-014 zoning map amendment. A public hearing regarding this request will be held on Tuesday, August 8, 2023 at the Kettering City Council meeting. In Your Honor, we also have a petition that was received this evening. We have a petition for continued services at the Kettering Connection was received on July 11, 2023 from patrons of the Kettering Connection located at 300 East Stroop Road, Kettering, Ohio 45429. The petition is to continue free blood pressure screening for seniors at the Kettering Connection.
Okay, thank you very much. We will now move on to the manager's report. Community update.
Yes, Your Honor. Bear with us a second as the slides come up. We want to highlight our Neighborhood Pride program. This honors residents and businesses who have made significant improvements to their homes year after year. And if you want to nominate a neighbor, you can visit the city's website or call our volunteer office. We have a lot of residents that take pride in their property, and this is an opportunity to recognize them. One of the things we want to highlight is our trash collection provider, Rumpke, let us know that this week it's important to get your trash out as the ordinance requires the night before pickup, because they will be starting early, and they're starting service earlier than usual to help our drivers beat the heat. We certainly value our refuse collection drivers and support the desire to make sure we protect them and let them get their job done safely. There's an opportunity for our property owners to learn about their property value update. The Montgomery County Auditor's Office has let us know that they're going to host a community forum July 31st, 5:30 to 6:30 at the library on Far Hills. Montgomery County Auditor Carl Keith will be hosting that informative session. If anybody has any questions, they can contact Mr. Keith's office at the number on the screen. We like to highlight each summer a partnership that we have with many community partners, the school, Partners for Healthy Youth, the libraries, and others. There's the community hot dog roast, and I think many of you attended one, and I believe hundreds of our residents came out to participate. There's another one, July 27th, this Thursday, at the Habitat Center, 5 to 7:30. and then again August 9th from 5:30 to 7 at the Kettering Recreation Complex. Sustainability is a priority of this council, and in July we will be supporting both through our promotion like this as well as some of our volunteers, the Styrofoam recycling event at the Business Solutions Center being hosted by Montgomery County. That's 9 to 1. People can bring their Styrofoam that they've been collecting for proper recycling. And I'm going to invite the chief to add anything he would like about this important event, but it's National Night Out again, and a great event Tuesday, August 1st, 6 to 8 here, 3600 Schroyer Road. Chief, would you like to add anything?
Absolutely. Always a good turnout for this event. We welcome everybody. Several years ago, we used to hold it over in Town and Country. We've recently moved it back over to the parking lot here at the city building. So everyone always enjoys themselves, and please come out and say hi to us.
Optimist Kids Day in the Park. Carnival games, prizes, and face painting by one of our valued civic organizations. It's August 5th, 2023. I'm willing to bet if I put them on the spot that either Councilmember Scott or Councilmember Klepaz would welcome the opportunity to add something about Optimist Kids Day in the Park, would you?
Sure, I think the highlight will obviously be the fact you're going to be on that tank. Since you have not joined the local Optimist organization and you're connected with a Rotary, I imagine there'll be a lot of people firing at you over there. So, but last year it was a great event, great turnout. I think the weather was even decent, and hopefully we can have that again this year. Thank you.
I would like to add, it was well attended last year, and I would also like to add that we are looking for an additional member to join soon.
Oh, there we go.
And defect from the dark side of Rotary to Optimist.
This tough crowd, maybe I should have kept it to myself.
As the Rotarian up here, you just keep on.
You can be both.
I want to say Kiwanis is always looking for new members as well, if you would like to.
We have, as you know, a family of awards, I'd like to say, with the city of Kettering. We recognize our volunteers, and we have an extensive volunteer effort. Earlier this evening, you heard about our Neighborhood Pride Award, one of our other key awards, and we also, with the work of our Community Relations Board of Community Relations, we have added to our family of awards this year the Good Neighbor Award, which recognizes the large and small differences that Kettering neighbors, the things that they do for each other to make our neighborhoods great and a better place to live. Yeah. There's an opportunity to take time to nominate somebody for the Good Neighbor Award, and I know Ms. Duvall has worked on this. If she'd like to add anything, I'd certainly like to invite her to do so. Nominations are due August 15th.
One of the missions of the Board of Community Relations is to get neighbors talking and to build a sense of community so that everyone knows they are welcome here. And this award was designed to recognize those neighbors that help you shovel your snow or rake your leaves or mow your lawn or anything like that, any way that your neighbors help you. And I hope that everyone has somebody they can nominate. And we're very excited about our first round of nominations. So get those nominations in by August 15th. Thank you.
At the last council meeting, I talked about kind of the last chance to receive stay put emergency rental assistance because no new applications will be accepted after August 18th, 2023. Certainly if people need more information, we encourage them to go on our website or contact our staff, but because funds will be running out in this program, which was designed, as a temporary program to meet the needs of and prevent eviction during a great time of need in our country, in our state, in our community. We we will no longer have funds available from the county, we anticipate, unless something else changes. So we'll stop taking the applications August 18th, but applications for renters in active eviction will be accepted by appointment only. No walk-in appointments will be accepted at this point. I announced all that for the second time tonight, but I also was remiss in the last meeting in giving a shout out or a compliment to Mr. Robillard's staff, who have served quite a few people through this rental assistance program. I believe they've had over 316 recipients just this year where we prevented eviction, over 1,370 to date in the program who received assistance. We were able to serve not only Kettering residents, but also all of the communities in the court system with the help of our judges and our clerk of court, Rob Scott. We serve Kettering, Centerville, Moraine, and Washington Township individuals who were facing challenges paying their rent, and have distributed approximately $5.67 million since 2021. We're anticipating distributing the remainder up to $6.5 million through the rest of the program. Mr. Robillard, I don't know if you want to add anything, but I don't think we should end the program without saying some good words about the work that everyone involved has done.
Do you want to add? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, he has. Yes,
Are you finished, Mr. Greason?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. At this point, if you would like to speak before City Council, please come down to the podium. Each speaker will have a 5-minute limit. Speakers are asked to state their name and address. Is there anyone who would like to speak before City Council tonight? This is on something other than the legislation that you had a chance earlier. Okay, nobody wishes to do so. So we'll move on to council reports. Mrs. Fisher, would you like to go first?
I sure would. A couple things to highlight. I appreciate the residents that did come out to learn a little bit more about the electric aggregation. I would encourage every resident to be informed about what you're spending on your own current bill and make an informed decision to move or stay, depending on what your price is. I found out mine was 12 cents. And so it was a no-brainer to go with the aggregation to go to 6 cents. So I'd encourage everyone to take just a couple minutes to do that for yourself. And also to remind everybody that there is a special election coming up, August the 8th, and I might recommend everyone get out and make your voices known at that special election. Last but certainly not least, I'll look at Chief. Chief and I had an opportunity to work on some scholarship opportunities through Holiday at Home. We interviewed a lot of awesome students for some scholarships, and we have some really good kids that serve our communities well, and they'll at Holiday at Home get announced 2-1, but that was a great opportunity to meet with some really powerful individuals that are going into college and going to be running the world in the future. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Kleepass?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm sure others will mention the Gentilly Nature Park groundbreaking was last week, and the only thing I want to mention about it is the first groundbreaking I've been to where the shovels that were provided I could handle them, but I brought my shovel along from that event. That was pretty neat. Last night, the monthly Sister City meeting took place, and it was quite interesting for me to hear I'll call it a debrief of the folks that went on the trip to Europe, and specifically Steyr, a little bit of conversation about the youth trip, which went on at the same time. And so everyone that several people weren't, of course, on the Sister City Committee, but they came and they gave the folks from the Sister Committee that didn't go on the trip a great update on how that went. My takeaway from it was evidently the hospitality of the Steyr folks and the sister cities of people in particular was just out of sight. Everybody just remarked about how they treated us and the events that they had for our representatives from Kettering that were there. And it gives us a challenge because next year there's a good possibility that there'll be an adult trip from Steyr coming in here. So we've got the bar set pretty high on trying to outdo that, that's for sure. Last thing I want to mention, to remember to shop local Kettering businesses when considering a gift, because giving a gift from a small business is giving a gift twice. And to follow up with Mr. Scott's proclamation tonight, on the 29th, shop Lemonade Day in Kettering. Thank you. That's all I have, Your Honor.
That's great, thank you. Mr. Scott.
Thank you, Your Honor. Be real brief since Gentilly Park was already mentioned. It was fun to go to the hot dog roast at Poland Farm last week. Many Kettering residents were there. I think especially the kids had a good time, and I hope we have just as good, if not even better, turnout at the other two upcoming ones. And I want to give a shout out. This is a Dayton area-based thing, more than specifically to Kettering. 2 weekends ago, the weekend of July 14th and 17th in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, was the National Senior Games for senior citizens. Thousands of athletes descended on Pittsburgh to rowing, archery, bowling, volleyball, you name it. And there was a team from the Dayton area in the men's 3-on-3 basketball championship that included a retired Dayton police sergeant, a current Dayton Fire District chief, and a former Synchrony financial executive who won the bronze medal in their age division. So I want to give a shout out to that team who also had a broken down Fairmont West alumni on it as well, who shall remain nameless.
Okay, congratulations.
I would like to mention again the Gentilly Park groundbreaking. It was wonderful to see that finally happen. It's been a bit of a slow pacing to get that project moving, but I cannot wait for that park to open. I was thrilled to see so many of my neighbors out there, so that was wonderful. Mr. Scott and I both serve on the MVCC board, and this week something fascinating was talked about. There was actually a list of everything MVCC does, and I think we take that for granted a little bit. So if y'all will bear with me, I'm going to go through this list. It's impressive, and I just want to thank MVCC for everything they do. And I'll try and summarize. They do contracts for street lighting and things like that all across the region. They do operational oversight and programming of 4 cable access channels, including training volunteers to work with the media and make their own programs, and free classes for students, which is amazing. They cover all of our city council meetings and festivals and parades and all of that we have. Collaborative training programs for all member and affiliate communities, funding for the operations of Tactical Crime Suppression Unit, coordination of meetings and sharing of information between cities, which is huge in our region, access to production incident command vehicles, website creation, AV consulting, equipment purchasing, etc. Executive director services for the Greater Dayton Mayors and Managers Association, access to the drones. And recently, their special projects include construction and oversight of a 44-mile fiber ring, coordinated the purchase of an armored rescue vehicle for use by TCSU SWAT team. They added HD and closed captioning services to 4 access channels, and they are responsible for the aggregation program that we're all excited about. So I just wanted to point out the incredible work MVCC does and thank them for everything they do. It's a great resource we have here. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lisa, and thank you for running through that. I think that a lot of times we just assume people understand who all those our partners are in our community, and they are certainly a very important one. I'm not going to cover a lot of things that you all have covered tonight. As you can see, there's a lot going on for this time of the summer with the high heat. We've got a tremendous number of activities, and just remember, we have cool, refreshing ponds, for fountains at Lincoln Park, and so you can cool off in them. They might even let you, they might not pull you out of the pond if you're caught waiting. I don't know. Probably shouldn't promote that. One thing that was not talked about was Taste of Kettering, which has been rescheduled for this coming Sunday. If anyone would like a ticket for that, I don't know, they can get them from Amy Shrimp right up here, or where else could they get them, Amy?
The Phrase box office, or you could buy them at the door, but it'll cost you an extra $5 that day.
Okay, and they're $20, $25? $25, okay. Always a great time. It's a nice break from the hot dogs, which you can get on any number of days around here. So we invite you all to turn out for the community hot dog days. Okay, I think that pretty much covers it, and thank you all for your attention this evening, and with no further business before us, our next regularly scheduled City Council meeting will be August 8th, 2023, and this meeting is adjourned.